Ulonga tabati yada to ye ko madaifa ino to ye ko jeun lo fi bi pa Ọba tala ọba takuntakun Ṣàngó Èṣù Ògún Ọya Ọ̀ṣun kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí o ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Lafayette, peace and power, family. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Arisha Bami, and we are back with the Divine Goddess Twins out of the Sac Town tonight, man. I'm ready to get this thing cracking for the leaders of the new school. So before we get into that, family, without further ado, let me just give a quick shout out to all the new channel members, all the new channel subscribers. Shout out to everybody who was rocking with us on the previous live streams this week. Shout out to the mother of the Matrix, Miss Sophia Stewart, the Oracle herself, for a phenomenal show last night. And shout out to SEG for making the connection, making that thing happen, man. I appreciate you. And shout out to Miss Marietta, SEKHMET MAAT, joining us back in the building, family. So peace and blessings. What's good with y'all? How y'all doing?
Sister. Hey.
Look, don't sing that song. That's so funny. I'm sorry about that one, but anyway.
we done spun the block down the 90s shows, man. She was dropping all kind of old classic shows and backstage before we came on here.
I've been on 90s music. I've been on 90s shows. I've been on it lately. Heavy.
Hey.
You know, because she said it, because she did Sister. Back in the day, back before that show came up, my sisters and I were hired by Capitol Records to do the theme song for the show Sister. So we worked on it for a while, and it is really interesting because their theme song sounds very much to what we gave them.
Wow. I didn't even know that story. My telepathy is getting stronger with age.
Listen,
well, this is Linda. Sister right here.
I tell you.
Listen.
It's a great kind of segue to what, protection and what's happening in this new school of your intellectual properties and, just securing yourself, because those things have happened forever, but they ain't going to be happening no more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's real though, man. That's something that we definitely got to put the info out there for the tribe, which you already been doing and which we're gonna continue to do. And it's crazy how we have been pirated and stolen from with so many different things, and we had a huge example of that last night. But they can't stop the creator, and we're gonna continue to do what we do and be what we be and make it happen for the people. So we're gonna get it cracking one way or another, and that's crazy that happened though. But guess what? You're still doing your thing, and I don't know. I think everybody get what's coming, I guess.
It all worked out. Worked out.
Yeah.
All is good.
Okay. Well, so leaders of the new school, man. We definitely transitioning from the third to the fifth dimension. Things are definitely elevating. The energy is rising. The aliens are here. The vampires are surface walking. They coming out. You know what I'm saying? And popping out and all that there. And so yeah, we got a lot going on. So leaders of the new school. That's something that we have to really tap into and really share. How we're going to maneuver as we shift. Through this transformation and this transition. So when it comes to leader of the new schools, and I know both of you teach schools and be in schools and are influencing students in schools in a very powerful, impactful way, where would we start with this whole transformation in regards to teaching and cultivating these new leaders for the new school?
Come on, Mama.
Well, actually, I was gonna give it to you, Mama, because I'm speaking to the young adults, and I'm speaking to the people that already have the capacity to on their own make decisions. I see you talking to the babies all the time, which those are the leaders, right? Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and let you take that.
So thank you. I made a change this year. And I used to call myself a social wellness leader, and that don't fit right now. I used to call myself a social wellness practitioner. That's not fitting right now. And so I've made the shift to be intentional about simply calling or sharing my work as a social wellness educator. And one thing that I realized also at the beginning of this rotation is I'm done trying to chase after adults to get them to open their minds and hearts to some of the specific shifts that need to occur for us to rebuild and do the nation building necessary for the shift that's upon us, the awakening that's upon us. And so right now, my whole thing is I've always worked with youth and young adults, but I'm making a point to make that a focus. And the reason why that's a focus is because, not to say I won't serve people of all ages, but there's a level of need that young people are expressing from a very authentic place that I feel the need to respond to, similar to that of an emergency responder. And right now we're looking at our youth and we're very critical of their mental health, right? Or as what I call their emotional hygiene and how they express themselves. But I think a lot of that is because of the systems that we have placed them in. One person that we know very well, who is now an ancestor, Martin Luther King, one of the most revolutionary things that he said upon his transition to ancestorhood was, I fear that I may have integrated my people into a burning house. And don't nobody talk about that speech. Everybody talks about his dream, which turned out to be an American nightmare for many of us. And so right now, as a person who's been big on teaching safety awareness, crisis prevention, and now, you know, a life of sustainability, I'm looking at our youth and my work and how I'm showing up in the classrooms and the trainings and the facilitations with people who work with youth is treating it as if you were an emergency responder and someone called 911. And I think right now we're seeing a lot of people getting sick of traditional school systems because of the restrictions, because of what's being gutted, and are just tired of trying to convince systems that were never intended for us or by us to be revolutionary in the change to serve and rid themselves of some of the intrinsic, you know, hatred that it was built on. And so for me, I really feel like it's our job to not be begging adults who want to pontificate and debate and want all of these unrealistic instant changes. My job is to be an emergency responder as a social wellness educator for young adults and young people who are really, really bleeding out right now. And while a lot of the adults are debating and arguing over things that are not making their life skills readily available for them, they're losing and they're tired of losing. And they're very vocal with me for that. So this year I made it a very big shift to say most of my work is going to be centered in youth, in teenagers, and in young adults. And I'm being very assertive about that in ways that I don't think I've ever gone hard on it before, but they're worth it and it's necessary. And so, you know, when we talk about it takes a village, that could really turn into a very cliche saying, oh, it takes a village. But when we're saying that, it really is looking at how we are going to operationalize as culture bearers, as guides for these leaders of the new school and the new generation that's coming in. And so that's really the shift that I'm making and the conscious effort that I'm focused on right now, because ain't nobody got time to be chasing with adults who want to religiously gangbang, who want to, you know, debate over the right way to go. Young people just want some nurturing, some protection, and some guidance. And I have full faith in their ability to follow up and follow through when they're ready for that. And I just want to be on the front line for them right now. So that's really, you know, where my heart is, where my intentions are, and how I'm trying to purify how I go about sharing my art, sharing my magic, and sharing my power is giving it to the people who are the youth. Ashe.
Ashe. That's amazing. Let's collaborate right now and say that those children that you're going to be talking to have parents. Go on and send them parents over to Master Vibration 13 and Infinity Air Ministries, and let's get this work, because it's a whole new world that is happening right now. We do have the young ones that are teaching their parents, because these young ones, they're not here for the first time. This is not the first time that they got here. And so, but we do have these parents that are so programmed in the system, and they can't, the fear is keeping them stuck in the program. So what I'm doing in my world is I'm helping people remember who they are by recognizing their energy system, knowing what that is, not just, oh, okay, I know what that is. I'm talking about knowing what that is, embodying every single energy center until you know exactly what that energy relates to in your body, in your emotional guidance system, because that's the way that you're going to survive this whole age that we're existing in right now. There's a whole lot of information out there. What are you going to listen to? Who are you listening to? And how do you know that you are listening to somebody that is even worth you listening to? If you're not grounded, you know what I'm saying? You probably gonna just listen to anybody. And so there's systems that are being developed organically, because look at what just happened right now. And yes, I already know that's Miss Mariana. So she gonna let people know where they can come to go ahead and energize themselves and clear their 9 chakra system, not just 7. There's way more than 7 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12. There's way more, hundreds. But the ones that we need to really align are 9, below the feet and ending above the head. I yield.
I say. You know, it's interesting what you said about the a lot of the times people just want to belong to something. And for our elders and for the generations before us, their sense of belonging came with the need to want to fight to be included in a system. And I was having a conversation with an elder the other day that was really, really, you know, who was very passionate about voting. And I said, well, Big Mama, you know, I'm interested in talking to you about this because I see that a lot of elders are mad with younger adults because they're not participating in these systems. And I was trying to get that dialogue going because, you know, well, where our ancestors died for this, right? And I respect that. Our ancestors fought for this. And I was trying to get her to hear me say, like, but these young people, they don't know that experience and they're not seeing much of the fruit of it as Babylon is falling right now. And so fast forward, I saw the recent documentaries about the man going by the name of Nature Boy. He has one on one network, and then there's also one on YouTube. And that is an example of how young people want to belong to something. But if they don't have people teaching them what safety awareness and crisis prevention looks like, you can join up with somebody who's claiming knowledge of self. You can join up with somebody that's watched a million conspiracy theories and know all of the conscious buzzwords. But if you don't have somebody like a divine feminine from that aspect or masculine from that aspect teaching you, hey, it's not just about wanting to belong to something, is what you are ascribing to. Is it good for your human growth and development? Because if not, there's going to be a lot of not occults, but cults that are going to take advantage of people the same way gangs took advantage when it got hijacked, when it went from street code to protecting to then disrespecting our community members. It can get hijacked just like a lot of people get into educational systems and fight, only to find themselves in a system where their hands are still behind their back, but they've got accolades behind their names. Only to fight to be in a system where you're trying to quote unquote vote or die, but we're still dying even though we're voting. And so what my intention is to make sure that young people, not in just a sense of feeling lost or feeling disconnected, run to the first thing that sounds good or looks aesthetically spiritual, right? But is it really, really a safe space for your human growth and development? And so that is when I'm doing these teaching experiences, when I'm doing these exploration experiences with young people, I'm trying to get them to re-engage with what that looks like and feels like. Because if not, you're just going to get lost in the sauce and fall for the okie doke of anybody that got an ankh, anybody that got some sort of knowledge of self. And that could be dangerous as well, because now that's for purchase, just like Kwanzaa. Just like all the other things that we create to save us and be a salvation, but it ends up being a demonstration of like our shutting us down and getting hijacked. So I just want to make sure to say that, make sure that young people, when you are looking for organizations, when you're looking for quote unquote your leaders and guides, look at them. If there's any similarities to a pimp, right? Where there's some narcissism traces there, where there's some secretism in there, where there's some isolation there. Those are all steps, initial steps of what an abuser would do when they're trying to lure you in with something because you're so alone and you want to be a part of something, but you don't have that process to know, is it safe for my mind? Is it safe for my heart? Is it safe for my body? Is it safe for my spirit? Is it safe for my finances? And so if you can't vet through those, you might want to think twice about joining that organization or group or leader just because you want to belong to something and you feel broken and alone. I really want to be heavy on that because we're going to have to come up with micro communities and we're going to have to trust each other, but we need to have a vetting process on whether or not this is actually a safe space. That's really, really valuable right now.
100%.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot more growing communities that are, you know, like you said, taking advantage of this young energy that's needing to feel wanted, because there are a lot of people that feel alone, that they feel, you know, and they're not recognizing that this time of solitude is very powerful. It's for your benefit to be with yourself, to be by yourself is very beneficial, because now you don't have any disruptions from outside and you're able to connect with the information that's there for you to connect. And it's all happening through nature. Like, things don't have to be so difficult. There's a lot in the world right now where people are selling absolutely everything, right? So they're going to sell you to how to teach you absolutely everything that you technically already know how to do. You just have to remember, you know, and it's about following your own way and being able to align with other people as well. But this whole time of that guru and that leader, that is over. You got to be the leader of yourself. And that's the time that we're in right now, because everybody is being moved on the planet through vibrational frequency. Your vibrational frequency is what's sending a transmission that comes back and gives you whatever it is that you're operating from in your subconscious mind. That's what's showing up. And so now people are starting to see the truth. You can't hide from it no more. And so now when you see it and it's right in front of you, the only thing you got to do is deal with it and work on it, or you're going to go ahead and keep staying stuck in a system, and you're going to tell people, you know, get in that space where people are telling you what to do. And as long as people are telling you what to do, you're going to be cool with that. So you know, that's fine. But we are being separated right now, everybody.
That's true. Ashe.
Asheo. Yeah. So, and I agree with everything 1,000,000,000%. I'm in the background trying to get all these other things taken care of that I was dealing with prior to coming on, but I got them straight, y'all. So whenever we get to that point of the show, I definitely am ready to share, you know, what we had prior to. But no, that's real. And I want to quote, you know, some of the elders, but one of the elders in particular that I love his theory and philosophy on this. But shout out to Professor James Smalls, because one of the things, and a lot of, if not all, the conversations I've had with him, he's very big on making sure that we are locked in and dialed in on several different elements that he calls your values, interests, and principles. And that being food, clothing, security, protection, and shelter, right? So those are 5 key elements that I definitely feel like are extremely necessary and extremely mandatory. And I had somebody today ask me about doing some presentations or some videos about, or even courses, classes about protection, you know, about working with, you know, weapons, working with hand-to-hand combat, working with, you know, learning how to use martial arts or boxing skills or whatever the case may be for the sake of protection and, you know, defending yourself, etc. So out of these elements of food, clothing, security, protection, and shelter, where would you recommend us starting with? And Mariana, I want to SEKHMET. I want to say you inspiring me to start my little green thumb journey, man. I've been doing some research and looking up different types of plants and different types of vegetables and fruits that I could grow, you know what I mean, in my own little patio garden. So I definitely working on that. I'm at to holler at you, man. See, can I get some tips about planting some of them things so I can get my little food going?
For sure.
So
for sure. No,
yeah.
that's real. One thing that we need to do is demystify the idea that you gotta have acres to start growing some food. Like, and I know, you know, we see the black cowboys, the cowgirls, the homesteaders and all of that. But the reality is like, that's a small percentage of people that are in a position to buy land or buy property. If you have a home and you have a backyard, you have space to grow. If you have an apartment and you have a balcony or a small area or a patch of land, your area of space, you have a place to grow. If you don't, and you have a friend who has a backyard or a patio, y'all can go in on getting some dirt and getting some grow bags and grow some tomatoes, which is abundant. Grow some peppers, which is abundant. Just getting into not necessarily feeling like you got to be this overnight agricultural master, but as with anything, just start with one seed and fall in love with the alchemy process. Fall in love with the fact that you have been disciplined enough, just like you wake up every day to wash your ass. Because I know so many people say, I don't have a green thumb. All you got to do is get the dirt and get a container and put a seedling in there and put some water in there and put some sun on it. You need that as a human being. That's not, if you can do that for yourself as a human being, it's the responsibility to the need to be able to fall in love with the fact that you know how to grow something. If you can be dedicated to learn how to learn something and go to school for 50 million years, you can grow a plant. If you can be committed to working for a system for 50 million years, so they'll promise you a 401k, then you could grow a plant. And it doesn't mean you have to be a master at it, but just like in kindergarten, when they gave you that little milk carton and you put some little dirt in there and you grew a sprout and you were so excited every day for 2 or 3 days, all of those magical alchemy processes that we learn as children were some of the fundamental things that we need to learn to get through learning more sustainable lifestyles. And so I think that we need to stop overthinking it and complicating it. We need to stop making it look like I am or am not the type of person that can do that. If you want to be able to eat, you should learn how to grow something. And even if you don't want to have a whole, like I have a lot of different things I'm growing, but even then, so I might just need one person that grows nothing but tomatoes. And then one person that grows nothing but potatoes. And one person that grows nothing but kale. Guess what we finna do? We're gonna drop, we're gonna swap, and we're gonna roll. So it's not always about being a person who has the ability to have a whole farm, but that's a sure way to begin that process by falling in love with the alchemy of understanding that we are people that come from abundant spaces. We are people that have it in our genetic coding that we have agricultural skill sets. And then even if you're not, maybe you're the person that cultivates animals. Because if you don't, maybe you're the person that understands the waters and fish. All of these things are very natural to us. And just because we've been programmed to not live that way doesn't mean that those systems and those natural abilities don't still lay dormant, but it's up to us to nurture them and to bring them back. And so I would love to, give you a few tips. I think I gave you a few right now. One of my sister friends came over the other day and she was like, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff. And I threw her a bag of dirt. I threw her a grow bag and I grew her a seedling. I said, don't come back over here till something growing. And now she's like, I can't grow it fast enough because I keep eating it. I said, that means it's time to plant some more shit.
Hey, listen, that sound like me, boy. I saw the little video with you getting on Big Red today, boy. I like, boy, Big Red over there turning up, boy. Big Red, you better tighten up, Big Red. You over there cutting up, man. Tighten up, Big Red.
So funny. I was in the store the other day, and this lady, she kind of has some shifty eyes, and I'm looking, it's a strange feeling where people recognize you or whatever, but they don't know what to say. You don't know what they about to say, y'all. You kind of just looking at each other. And so she was like, I know you. I was like, okay, where you know me from? She's like, I know you. So I'm thinking she's going to say maybe working with the kids. She's like, you Big Red's mama. You Big Red's mama. I said, that Big Red having a group of appreciators now. So these people are like, I would watch this every day. But what that says, right? All the garbage, all the sensationalized crap that's out there, all the violence, all the oversex stuff, the fact that some people all over the world now are chiming in with me and my chicken, me and growing some peas. Again, there's something in our inner child that wants to see the most innocent, natural alchemy happening. And,
Yes.
and I was like, people are responding this way over my first chicken. They really gonna lose their mind when I get 10 of them, right? But that's something inside of us that says we are still interested in the most simple, natural, innocent, pure acts of life. And if we start to show that and show the joy that comes from, I love my little chicken, and now everybody else does. But now they're paying attention to, why do you have a chicken? Well, the chicken gives me poop, and the poop is good for the garden. Well, why do you have, I don't eat eggs a lot, but well, why are you going to get so many chickens? Because those are things that I could sell and barter and trade. You saw how everybody went crazy when they couldn't get eggs for a while. I might eat chicken. I might eat eggs once or twice a month. I don't even eat eggs like that. But there's an ecosystem that I'm building. And what happens is you being inspired, and somebody going to see you, then they're going to be inspired. And so that's the way, a beautiful entry point to being leaders of the new school, through agriculture and through the art of having those green thumbs, those green hands, those green lifestyles that we want to live.
I love it, man. And it's really dope, because I'm not on social media often at all. I go on there, I call them drive-bys. I do a little drive-by, you know what I'm saying? I check out whatever I can to check out, and I keep it pushing. Yeah. So it's like, and that's all strategic, because I came to the conclusion a while ago about, if I'm going to be dealing with social media, am I on there as a creator and someone who is actually creating and like distributing, or am I on there as a consumer, somebody who's on there just to consume, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just pretty much pissing time away. So it's like, I don't want to be in the consumer, role on social media. So I'd rather be in the creator role, where I'm creating something, establishing digital real estate to where it's something that, is of value. So long story short, when I did a little drive-by, I guess the way the algorithms are, they send you whatever they think you want to see. So I saw it, I was like, but Big Red out there turning up. But it's funny, the stuff that I watch on social media literally is animals. If I watch anything, it's crazy dogs, funny dog videos, funny cat videos, whatever. There's a dude called Rockstar. He funny as hell. He does voiceovers, stuff like that. It tickles me. So I'll check that out, but I still got to make myself get off. I got double dutch, jump on, jump off, because I can't be wasting all that time. But I say all that to say, I really am inspired, because, and shout out to Wunam, I got a message from my ancestors that told me I needed to do some new stuff with my hands. And so I'm like, well, I can't be fighting and knocking, people aside the head. So I feel like I had to get connected to the planet and the soil. And I had an experience, I think Wednesday, man, where I had to do some work for a client, and they gave me 2 plants to plant, and I planted both of them. And boy, when I tell you, to me, it wasn't a coincidence, because one of the plants was a plant that's attributed to Shango. And so with me and that Shango energy, man, when I tell you the sky was crazy Wednesday night, and like we got some storms, which we get storms a lot here, but the way the clouds were looking and the way that the storms came, we had 2 days back to back with unbelievable storms. And I'm like, yo, it's something to this Shango plant, man, because I feel like with that connected to the earth and, and that electricity and that electromagnetic field that's elevated and heightened with all these Schumann resonance spikes and all the things that's going on the plant, I'm like, yeah, this is powerful. And so it really made me want to tap into really getting this thing going, with my garden, because like you said, I plan to want to aspire to show other people you can do it without a big yard or without a lot of property or whatever. Like, it's all about you taking the steps to learning the process and making it happen. It's as simple as that.
It's easy. It's easy. Like sprouts. I'm about to start getting into microgreens, and all you need is a jar and some seeds. And the way it warms up and ferments and does all that thing, like that's a wonderful way. If you have an apartment and you don't have no land, start doing microgreens. So go on YouTube until I get it together and find somebody, Big Mama, on there that teaches how to do sprouts. In a matter of days, you have fresh microgreens. So that's something that can be used. And those microgreens are potent because they're the seeds. You know what I'm saying? So I'm Big Red about to get a whole bunch of microgreens. I'm gonna have about a whole bunch of different sprouts, and you can sprout all kind of things. So I think really, as we are opening our mind, I know everybody wants to think about the revolution as like burning stuff down and crumbling things, but the point is you need to simultaneously figuring out what you're gonna build and grow at the same time. You can't just be all out here on warrior energy and just ready to tear shit up, and then you all wounded and you ain't got nothing to eat. You ain't got nowhere to go. So if we're gonna be really looking at the tactics of surviving any kind of war, we need to build and destroy simultaneously.
I sure. And speaking of building and destroying, SEG, when it comes to building and destroying, I know that you have your courses going on right now. I know that you have the the ministry aspects that we're going to bring up shortly as well. But when it comes to building and destroying, we've had some very deep conversations off air, offline about just that, about destroying activities, habits, and connections from the past, and then building, new habits, new activities, and new ways to, grow for the present and into the future. So from a spiritualist or from a spiritual healer's perspective, how would you say there are ways for us to destroy and rebuild from a spiritual perspective to kind of tie it into becoming a leader of the new school in this new age revolution that we're talking about?
We touched on a little bit in your self-healing. You have to go to yourself so that you can get directly connected to source. I mean, you're already connected to it, but it's your awareness of this connection, remembering who you are, so that then you can navigate these changes that are going to be happening through yourself. Because right now we're creating through our vibrational frequency, but people that are not conscious of what is happening, then they're just kind of moving along, and they have no idea that they're the ones creating their life because they're busy blaming it on other people. So many people to blame shit on, right? But when you start working on yourself, know thyself is like the biggest one, right? When you start doing that work, when you start with meditation, when you start knowing about your auric field, your chakra system, when you spend time in nature, when you ground your feet on the earth, when you put your feet in that water, when you touch a flower, when you feel the rain on you, all of these things that are happening naturally on the planet is part of our healing process, because there's too many people talking shit. There's too many people saying stuff. So how do you know what's real? The only way that you're going to know what's real is how it feels inside of you, what it feels like to you. And it's another important thing to remember. What is real to you does not mean that that's the real thing for somebody else. And this is why it's so important to focus on yourself. And when you focus on that inner healing with yourself and you start getting clarity, you start recognizing that yourself is attracting everything into your life. And so when you want to change other people and, what's going on the outside, that's never worked. That's what the system has been teaching people. Yep, go on and shoot them up and cause, all of this chaos. But the change starts within every individual. And when you have that going on, then it changes the whole game. There is a new gland that was just discovered. I just saw this video last week, and everyone can look it up for themselves. It is called the nexum gland. This nexum gland exists in your solar plexus area. And this nexum gland, when it is active, when it is functioning as it's supposed to function, you cannot get lied to. You cannot be controlled. You recognize what it is. You can't be fooled. And so they use EMF in order to calcify that gland. That gland became present. Again, I just found it last week, but it is now in an executive order. I'm sure that if you look up nexum or new gland that is found, what is the executive order, you're going to be able to find that, because that is part of the same reason why the chakra system, they're only letting out 7. There's really 9 that you really need so that you can remember who you are. They're trying to stop stuff. But here's the beautiful thing. Can nobody stop it? They can slow it down in different things, but there's no stopping. Look at the organic things that are happening. One thing that I want to mention is the fact that we're talking about putting your hands in the earth, growing the food that you're putting on the earth, right? And so all of that is your healing. And so it may look like, oh, look, so-and-so is growing food now. Ache and big ups to Javaya. So-and-so is growing food now, right? And so you're thinking, oh, look, she's picking up a hobby. But what's really happening is healing is happening. Divine healing that's happening through the authenticity of people that are simply doing what they do because they love it. And that love is going into everything that they do. And when a person puts it in their mouth, they're feeling that love. I'm going to tell you this. I got to give my sister some love. So I go to my visit with Mariana, and First of all, I will say it gives me chills when I say it. It was really powerful to be able to go. I went there in January. In January, she's so excited. She's showing me blueprints of what the garden's gonna look like, and this is gonna be here, this is gonna be there. And I'm like, yes, looking at the blueprints, and I'm like, this is amazing. And I'm just like excited because I've never done that before. She's like digging in, and she's so excited about doing it that all I needed to know was, look at that energy right there. Look at what she's doing. Look at how invested she is. She's gonna have the best stuff going on because you can see the energy that's going in. Okay, and so then I go back again and I saw her in April, I guess is when I saw you, right? In April, or maybe it was the beginning of May. And all of the garden is green, and all the vegetables are super colorful. Big Red is over there doing her thing. You know, I mean, it's just, it was a beautiful experience. It reminded me of the color purple only in the sense of, you know, back in that time when our people were farming and they had their own ways and they had their own things. And it was just really exciting to see it from the blueprint and then see it come to fruition. That's power. That's so, oh my gosh. So I cheered, sis. I cheered.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And you know, she came over and had some black eyed peas. What else you had? You had
I
some
had black eyed peas, I had greens, and I had some rice. And she made me a little to-go bag with some mangoes and some oranges and
had some plantain.
avocado.
You got mango.
And
Oh,
tell you something, because it's important to say this, because a lot of times people want to act like they're just so proud, and it's like, oh, I'm okay. So my sister, we already know what the path of an independent minister, an independent server of humanity. We already know that we always giving, and we just moving. So there are times where I'm gonna say that it may look like we're lacking because we are never, ever, ever lack. Please know that. Sometimes we have to face those situations so that we can get a lesson, a gem in it. And so in that process, I come from a family of where my blood family completely ain't nobody fooling with me except for one sister, right? And I'm grateful to that. I said to that sister that fools with me. But when you're in that, when you already know that in your mind, some of the healing is to be able to go into the sister community, and Sister Mariana could tell you this. And I think that last time y'all all saw us together, I was telling y'all how I didn't like the word sis. Don't call me sis unless you really know. People like to labels, and they like to use labels to like get you close. And when you've already had blood sisters that have already, you know, betrayed you, right? Then that means that anybody that's just come in to call sister, right, could be triggering. And so that's something that's a path that I needed to walk through in my life. And what happened with Mariana when I went to visit her in her lair, it was like a magical thing. She didn't know exactly what she was giving me, but she was authentically being herself. And she followed the vibes, and she went ahead and gave me plenty because she knew that I was in what some would call, it's a need, but it's not a need like, oh, it's a need that happens where you're speaking outside of your words. This is a vibrational frequency that connects among people, and she knew exactly what to do because she didn't even know the depths of what that meant. You know, when you get to the physical stuff, oh yeah, you know, I needed some fruit, I needed this food, right? But when it comes to, no, I needed the food that was being given to me in the conversation, in the love that we were exchanging in the laughter, in the joy. That's what I needed. And see, if people would not be so proud as to think that, oh, I'm not going to accept this because, you know, I don't want this person to think this or that. You know, it's like we have to stop at those things. And so seeing this in action in my own experience is just such a beautiful thing, because what does that do? It gives me the reflection of that really exists. The experience that I had in my life growing up wasn't necessarily the only kind of sisterhood that exists, because trust and believe, I love my sisters no matter what. All of them. I love them. I love them. The ones that hate me, I love y'all too. Because the thing is, I couldn't be who I am if it wasn't for the experience that I had, right? And it shows the whole, is a proper word, dichotomy of sisters, of different sisters that exist. And I needed that in my life. And I also needed to be humble enough to share this moment right here with y'all, so that y'all know that that exists, because I know that y'all probably see that that's a lion and this is fire right here. So it's the constant but these energies that have that oh, we could be so soft. And when we come together, it's just like, oh, so good.
Yeah, that's it. You know,
Yep.
nurturers need nurturers, warriors need warriors, healers need healers. And I think sometimes, a lot of the times, people believe that because we're abundant in that area, that we still don't need to have the feeling of reciprocity of receiving that thing. A doctor needs a doctor. You know what I'm saying? And so as an emotional intuitive, there's things that I might not know what the situation is, but I could feel what the need is. And if I have an overflow of that, I am glad to share it. Right. And so I do want to kind of take that into how that shows up for young people, and these and how this leader in the new school concept of what youth need is, of course, food, clothing, and shelter. And if we're doing some of those natural, basic, kindergarten activities, we can get them reconnected to exercising and playing. We can get them reconnected to playing in the dirt and playing in the soil and planting things. We can get them reconnected to using their hands and critical thinking with creativity. Like, all we got to do is return to some of the ways that we went into when we were cultivating ourselves as young people. The disconnect is when our education began to become a business as opposed to a cultivation process. And so a lot of the times when I'm training educators or social workers or working with young people, there's a system that I have. And for example, just last week, I had a contract to go in and work with a group of after school care providers. So, when the kids go to those extended programs, they go to school from 8 to 2. And then, them people that ain't quite teachers that went to school to be a teacher, but they after school. It could be Big Mama that's doing it. It could be, little Tyrone that just got out of high school and is a college student, right? But those after school providers spend a significant amount of time in socializing and working with our kids. And so a lot of the time they have a big role, just as heavy as the actual teacher that has to abide by certain contracts and policies, because they breathe a little more there. They're there to do their homework. They're there to do some enrichment. So when I was doing training with them in lieu of this leaders of the new school concept, it was kind of like, y'all, we got to stop doing this whitewash professionalism. Because a lot of the time, people that don't go through the system for education, they have imposter syndrome, as if they don't have ability to be a safe space, as if they don't have the ability to protect and nurture young children. Those after-school providers can be either really unhealthy people who give negative experiences to our children until we can get off at 5 and 6 o'clock, or they could be people who are very safe advocates and allies for our children. So when I'm working with them, I'm saying, drop this whitewash professionalism that you think is required to be a good care provider for this student or these scholars after school. Number one, you just have to be safe mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That's the first area. Now, what I was able to teach to them and what I want to share now is, a lot of the times when people see me engaging with students, they're like, man, how are you able to engage with people this way? Especially young folks. How do you get them involved? How are you able to be, assertive and strong, but also nurturing? And so I hope one of those videos, anyone you pick, we can cue one up. But there's 3 things that I'm usually trying to do. And it usually isn't a lesson plan with a stern topic. A lot of the time, as a social wellness educator, what my goal is number one, allow them the space to think critically again.
Yes.
Like, these children and these young people and adults, quite frankly, our thought process are led by devices. Our attention is led, our thought process led, our outlook, our disposition, our preferences. It's led by somebody who's trying to make you be a consumer. And
Yeah.
so the first thing is number one, ask a lot of questions. I'm not coming in trying to hammer in a particular topic. I have a topic in mind, and there's a very extemporaneous process to where we're going to get there. But number one, I'm just getting them to have the freedom and the autonomy to think critically again, and do it without being argumentative. Because a lot of the places that they're in is so much polarization that we got to destroy each other, or we're enemies, or I can't stand you just because we have a difference of opinion. So number one, I'm just trying to make sure they can pop off all different ideas and perspective, their experiences, and think critically about them, right? Number two, it's basically, so to critically think, but then second is emotionally link. And when I say emotional link, what happens is by their shared perspectives, and it's not gang, gang, bang, bang, and you got to feel the same way or think the same way. Now they can actually link together emotionally with a level of empathy, because it's like, well, we don't even think the same. We don't feel the same, but we don't have the same experience. But I was able to bear witness to it. And the richness of it. And now I'm sharper because I got more than one perspective to think critically from. So that's what makes the students and the people that I educate have an emotional link, even if they're from totally different experiences. And then last, the main thing that I'm always trying to do is critically think, number one, emotionally link, number two, but then have an intuitive reach. And what happens is when you can open somebody's mind, you can open somebody's heart, there's this natural exploration process where you're making the intuition spark, and you're giving it a jolt of energy that they may have never had before, when they can use different energetic and spiritual senses that is actually suppressed in most of their learning experiences. I was that student back in the day where the teacher would say shit to me like, oh, you think you know it all? Well, come teach the class. Until one day I really went up there, and then my mama ended up having to come to school the next day and sit in class with me. But the point is a true educator can see magic and says, actually, come up here and teach that. Instead of it being an authoritative, it's just me, one-way linear experience, students learn great from other students. And that's how they think critically, and they can respect a different opinion, thoughts, feelings. That's how they can emotionally link and respect each other from their differences and backgrounds. They try to come up with something called DEI to replace that. And then finally, the last thing is the intuitive reach. Now we're bringing energy and spirit into the room, and it has nothing to do with religion. And so I'm always trying to make sure, when I'm not managing a classroom, I don't like that term. And a lot of time people come in, wow, you know how to manage the students. So I'm not managing anyone. These aren't my slaves. I'm not their superior. We're having a learning and exploration experience. But if I do those 3 steps all together, they will begin to teach each other. They will begin to teach me. And then when that trust builds, they're wide open to the wisdom and the knowledge that I have, because there is a trust. Just like my sister was saying, it's not transactional. It's not superficial. It's not performative. They've been on the journey with me, and then I can take them and present whatever information or wisdom that I want to impart. That is a total different system than sit down, shut up, read, regurgitate, and then you get an F if you don't say it back exactly the way I rehearsed you to. So that is the approach that I'm taking when I'm thinking of what does it mean to be a leader of the new school? What does it mean to cultivate a learning experience and cultivate a classroom, or instead of managing it or suppressing what is naturally there, and actually the beautiful skill sets that makes it fun and exciting to be a student or be a student in a learning process. Ashe.
That part.
I'm hearing you speak about that whole process and how powerful it is. And what comes into my mind is, again, this time that we're in, don't like to fearmonger at all. However, it is important to protect those teachers. It is important to protect the rights of the rights that the people have to teach in this manner. And so this is what's happening in this breakdown in the world now, because people are being called, train your children, teach your children at home, homeschool your children, start building community of leaders that you know that you can trust to help educate your system. It's done through a community. It's not just one person. And so the growth and the plants, that's another angle. They trying to stop us. They trying to stop people from growing, not just any kind of herbs, right? They don't want us to get our hands on these things because people knowing the truth and people getting that soul food and really waking up, they can't afford it. So they start putting different things into place, rules and guidelines and legalese and all of these different things. So your sovereignty, recognizing who you are, protecting your intellectual property and everything that manifests out of you, that is key. That is the number one solution, in my opinion, to be able to protect yourself and be able to build and continue to grow privately without anybody coming in your face telling you what to do, because it ain't their business.
You know, I had to fight real hard. I had to fight real hard for my autonomy. Because a lot of people, when they see me teaching, they think I'm a teacher in a classroom. I'm like, y'all, every time you see me, you see I'm in a different classroom. I'm not in the same class. I'm all over the US. I'm in different classes. And so a lot of people assume that, you know, I'm a traditional teacher. I did not want to go that route. No diss to anybody that did. We need classroom and we need everybody in every realm. But I'm an independent educator, which means I'm contracted. And when people have me out, they know exactly what they're getting. And so there were some people online the other saying, what school does she go? What school does she work at? We're going to get her fired. Because I was talking about male-female relationships, and a lot of people who hate women, a lot of people who hate men were coming on doing that polarization thing, which I'm not worried about that at all. But can't nobody fire me because didn't nobody hire me. I'm a contracted educator. And so I really want to encourage people who are educators to have confidence, because they'll say things like, oh, I could never teach that in my district. Well, also, you can take the path of being an independent educator and just start offering workshops in your community. That's how I started. Now, I get it. You want to keep your 9 to 5, but if you really care about these children and you really want to teach in a certain way that you even know there are certain parents who support your teaching style, stop thinking that you have to be within an institution to be an educator. Right. You do not have to belong to any district, and you do not have to ask permission to start to bring about cultivation processes for you. As number one, as long as you're safe and you got those parents' permissions, then you can create any kind of programming that you want to offer. And that's how I got started. So I don't operate out of anybody's hurry, worry, or fear to go through their institution to get credibility. I don't, you know, there's a sister right now who's going through it because she felt she had to say one narrative about her degrees to be able to get to a certain level to have approval. The reality is, if you're ordained to do something, you're ordained to do something. But the only problem is when you have to do this whitewashed or this, you know, pseudo professionalism or performative professionalism, that's when people are going to attack you. So I'm quick to tell people I'm not an educator through the system. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist, and I'm proud of it. So there's a lot of shame in some of our wonderful teachers and nurturers and protectors because they didn't go through a white man system to get certification for it. As long as you're honest, you show your process and you're safe, you will be abundant. You will get the clients and the students and the classes and the workshops that you need. So I just want to speak that to a lot of people who are powerful educators who are voluntarily withdrawing themselves from creating positive programming for our young people because you're waiting for an institution that will never give you permission to do so.
And I want to jump in too, because first of all, I want to say muck those people, because, you know, trying to get you fired or whatever, muck them. I'm working on my words on here, so I'm trying to, you know, say I'm working on it. I got a long ways to go because I might drop some real F-bombs sometimes here and there, but I'm still working on it. You know, but anywho, that's a perfect segue for me to segue into a lot of the different types of events and some of the products and services that we're offering and bringing to the community. And with that being said, man, shout out to there you go right there, Find Your Zimmy, because that's my loctician who tightened me up today. But what I love about her, Zimmy is dope, man. She has a very, very unique skill set with her products and services that she offers to the marketplace. So she is a loctician, but she's also a Reiki healer, a sound healer, and then she also has a beautiful space that she's doing events with that we actually collaborated on. That I'll be sharing the flyer and the link for that for the fellas, and that's something that SEG and I spoke about that I got to get with you, Miss Mariana SEKHMET, about when I come out there, because first of all, I want some of the mangoes when I get out there to Sacktown. Second of all, whatever I could pillage from the garden. Look, I'm here, man. I'm gonna tear it up. Whatever donation offering you want to give, I want to test some of that food. But I want to get with you about maybe hopefully putting something together where we can collaborate with an event while I'm out there, though, because we're going to start one here the day before Father's Day, and I'm going to share that link, like I said, to the event. But we have to do that because I've been speaking from elementary school to youth programs to churches to corporate America to businesses, you name it, whatever. I've been doing the same work, and I ain't got no college degree, and I don't have to have one because it's the effects and it's the response and it is the production and it is the progress that is made when we go into these establishments and give these presentations. You can't argue with results. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So when you have that many people booking you to come in to do that work, something's in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what these people teach in these universities and all that, because whatever they're teaching, it ain't teaching it good enough because there's not enough people out there doing the work that you're doing. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's where I don't care about how the system tries to downplay us, or people who are conditioned by the system tries to downplay the work that we're doing. And there's a lot of people who need to benefit from this particular work. So with that, I do want to share whichever one you want me to share. And then I want to share the flyer for what SEG
Just pick
has.
one. Just pick one.
There, I'm going to go with
whatever ones. I gave you one with elder. I gave you one with young ladies. I gave you one with the young man. I try to give you a little well-rounded because I teach so many different groups of people. What's your spirit? Pick it like a piñata. Let's see.
What's the one that's gonna make the people that are trying to get you fired the most riled up and snarked up? That's the one I want.
Well, shit, that's all of them, man. That's all of them. I ain't worried about that.
Listen, muck them people, man. Muck them people.
If you book.
That's why.
If you book.
That's why I went with that one too. That's exactly why I went with it. All right, I'm gonna go with the first one. So I'm gonna bring it up real quick, and then we'll tap into that, and then we'll come back.
Which one is that? I'll do a quick intro while you pull it up. What's the title of it?
Idea.
Hell if I know, but look, I'm gonna show it to you.
So that's working with those after school providers.
Okay.
And we're talking about getting them out of that imposter syndrome, not feeling that because they're not actual traditional educators that teach curriculum, that they're not powerful, and kind of relating to them. And this is about 3 minutes of me kind of getting them to open their mind to see their value and validating some of their own experiences and why they are valuable in their role.
I sure. All right, well, let's chime in and tap in with it. 1 second.
Is not synonymous with being whitewashed. The reason why you had bad experiences in your educational facilitation throughout school is that your teachers were hypocrites. Right? And a young person could spot that out. Oh, that ain't how you was acting. That's not how you was acting around my mom. That's not how you was acting on the blacktop. A lot of people can see hypocrisy, right? Some of us call it two-faced, right? Some of us say you're not 100. Some of them say it's cap. Whatever it is, who says cap in here? It's cap. You can call that instantly, right? Today is going to be about doing some personal accountability work. And when you do that and you're able to not just manage yourself, but cultivate yourself, that's going to carry with you in the classroom and the students you serve. So I don't want to talk about it. I want to give us opportunities to be about it. So we are definitely going to do some social wellness accountability work. That means sometimes our emotional hygiene gets a little funky. And we don't like when somebody busts us out on it. I don't technically like being checked unless it's with love. And by the time you get on somebody's nerves because you're not being accountable for your own energy, by that time there's a breakdown, and the said individual that wants to let you know about yourself, they probably don't have the patience. That's usually what you end up doing with your students. There are triggers inside of us that happen. Who have been triggered by young people or that man would have put, I didn't even finish the question, first of all. Let me get the question out my mouth. But I think you do know. Who has been triggered when working with students and or their parents? Raise your hand. Raise the other one and shake that thing like you're in church. Okay, all right. So clearly this is a topic that we need to explore. A lot of the time there's mirroring behavior going on. So when we're coming in, and like most environments, there's an authoritarian perspective, right? I'm going to make them do what I want them to do. Actually, let's make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do for myself first, so that the battery is on my back and the gas tank is full. Because if I'm coming in here on E and I got this little perception of power, I might be abusive with it when I'm working with babies, even if they look just like me.
I say, oh, say it with your chest. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I think sometimes we feel like because we're automatically brown people, black people, melanated people, that we're safe. And that's not true. If we're not doing the work that SEG is doing to help us overcome If we're not doing some of the own your shit work, we can put ourselves in positions of being leaders to our youth, guides to our youth, and not be able to recognize when we are doing harm to our youth, because maybe, like I said, Tyrone looked like your daddy, or little sis look like your cousin, right? Or you have some inner stuff. And so much like what my sister was saying earlier, is we have to give a new social emotional imprint that outweighs the negative experiences that we may have had, that makes us assume all teachers are bad, or all doctors are bad, or all after school providers are bad. No, that was one experience, because that was more than likely a person who was using a whitewashed lens for professionalism. And number two, not being accountable to do the personal hygiene that ends up landing on our kids. So that's why sometimes somebody that looks just like us is the one that's given our child the most difficult time. And so that wasn't as interactive. If you have one more, you can grab. But that's an example of me trying to teach these after school providers, don't think that you can't be a powerful force. Don't think that you can't inspire and change the life. Just like a coach that does it for basketball stars and football stars, those after school providers are important people. They're called paraprofessionals. And we want to give them the confidence and the training they need, because they're taking care of our babies. And you get the wrong ones in there, that's 22, 23, and your baby is 17, 18 and blossoming. Their heart got to be right. Their head got to be right, because there'll be some inappropriate stuff going on in some of these programs. So we want to make sure to equip them with the safety and the confidence to take care of our babies, just like we used to be able to do back in the day, and trust it to be a village that raised our children, not just us alone. Ashe.
Yeah. And you were being very generous with that age, because the discrepancy is a lot wider than that, unfortunately. You got people who are older than me, senior to me. I'm 45. I'm talking about they might be 50, 55, 60, 65, looking at some of these young girls. And it's like, it's crazy, because unfortunately, our youth and some of the young women have been conditioned to this whole bullshit hip hop culture, you know what I mean? Where they're seeing the twerking and the baddie and the bad girl, something and all that foolishness, where they're trying to act like that. And they're presenting themselves that way when they shouldn't be, because you have predators out there looking at them who will, and, you know, take advantage of them in that light. And I had to actually check a couple of students a few times when I was in the schools teaching or, you know, presenting, because it's like they were coming at me like a grown woman don't even normally do or would. And I'm like, yo, don't disrespect me like that. I had to take it there like, yo, don't play with me. I'm a grown man. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. And don't disrespect yourself like that. Because first and foremost, you're not in the position to deal with a person like me. And you got to be careful, because if you're dealing with a person my age who has a different mentality than me, that could be a fatality for you. Like, it could really go left. You know what I mean? So I had to really like kind of take it there in a really stern, you know, professional manner. Like, don't play me like that, and don't play yourself like that. Like, chill.
Thank you.
But it's crazy.
Thank you so much.
It's a real thing.
I don't hear that testimony a lot. I don't hear that testimony a lot.
Because those slime balls are trying.
I do not. I wish I heard on a regular, the same way I see brothers dating younger girls or older women dating younger boys. I pray to hear the narrative more and more where people say, "Nah, baby, you cute," and that's flattering, but that's not appropriate. "Nah, baby, I'm too old to you. I'm old enough to be your father. I'm old enough to be your uncle. If you want some masculine energy in your life, I'll be an uncle and tell you that that's not appropriate." And these are the things you should. I don't hear brothers bragging about that. I don't hear the girls dating the women dating the young boys bragging about how they checked them and turned them into a nephew instead of a younger person that they're dating and taking advantage of, because they have less lived experience and a whole lot of curiosity and need. So thank you for being that person in that instant, that even if their bodies might be mature enough or their acting might be exposed enough to try to impose a certain sexual energy, we need more men and we need more women who are sharing stories about how they checked that instead of received it and played with it. That is so important to me.
Oh yeah. Well, hell, me and SEG, I mean, even with women, grown women, like that's just not how I move, because I'm a businessman. I'm a hustler. Like, and like I said on one of the calls with y'all, like, you're not finna try to pay me with no coochie coupons. I need my coins. You know what I mean? Look, I can deal with that in a different level, in a different realm. Yeah, don't. I don't take that. That's not a form of payment that is accepted here. So we're gonna keep it pushing.
We've definitely had that conversation, because it's like a lot of women that think it's okay because you're a woman to do that. And you know, to your point, Mariana, I definitely have had to tell these young men, look, boy, I'm your mama's age, and you need to stop. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because and there's just a lot of broken people.
Yeah.
And so what happens is this energy calls it each other, because sometimes people don't have the mentality, you know, even older woman or older man, they don't have the proper mentality to be able to really guard themselves and protect themselves
Right.
and, you know, the other people. So it's like, that's why it goes right back to everybody got to check themselves and they got to start doing that work.
Yeah.
That's
Facts. Okay. Well, let me tell you, let me go ahead and bring up the your program real quick, SEG, because I know that's something that I gotta get up real quick. So you want to share with the tribe a little bit about what the ordination class is about?
I'm very excited because after 4 years, I graduated myself. Ache. I graduated myself and decided that it was time to start talking to people about the way that I've created my business and do my life, which I started with an LLC. And Spirit kept saying, the work that you're doing with this technology, I pulled out my little crystal ball, and they were saying this technology is sacred and you have to protect it. And it cannot be on no limited liability company. It cannot be on a government system that was created to destroy, you know, you and your people. So you got to find another way. And so I found the way of a religious trust. So I work with religious trust, common law, also known as a 508C1A. Please look it up, because that number, all it is it defines the kind of structure that it is. And this structure is a structure that our ancestors use because it's just private. You know, that 508 is saying, I am doing the Most High's work. And we talked about this last time on this podcast, that religion does not mean any kind of doctrine, any kind of, you know, Jesus, Buddha, none of that. Religion is, what do you practice? What do you believe comes from a higher power? That higher power is not defined, right? And so when it comes to ministry, everyone that came out of their mother's womb was a minister. Anybody that come here and is serving the planet, serving humanity, you are ministering in some way. You know, just like Mariana was talking about, people that are doing the after school programs. Oh yeah, those are ministers, right? And so there's so many people that are serving people and they're doing it out of their own pockets. I chat to my girl Brittany, who takes her money and she does this thing after people get out of prison and they don't have no resources, nowhere to go. She makes sure that these people have clothes, have food, have, you know, the proper attire, you know, for a job, different things like that. And so people like that are the people that I talk to, and I say, you've been doing God's work. You now need to be protected. You now need to protect your intellectual property, anything that it is that you do with your hands, anything that comes out of your mind. Your whole being must be divinely protected, sovereignly protected, because we're all sovereign beings. So I came here to spin a different reflection on what ministry and religion is, because a lot of people think that religion and ministry means Jesus, Lord Shiva, whoever the heck else, you know what I'm saying? It is not. It is, what do you believe in? What do you practice? What is your thing? What is it that you master? What is it that you can offer to people for help? And it doesn't have to just be one thing. We all are ministers of different things in our lives. And so I'm now teaching people the lawful way to get out of a defunct system. And it's basically just remembering who you are. I do have a program that I'm offering, and this program, I will say this. Anyone who wants to be a minister, all you have to do is get 2 other ordained ministers that trust in what you're doing and believe it, and they're your witnesses, sign some paperwork, and there it is. That's as simple as it gets. That's what paperwork is. But what I'm offering in my institution is the training, is the teaching, is the knowledge, is the living, the experience that is necessary so that you can go on and be yourself and not be scared and not be bothered and know the law, right? Universal law, MAAT's law, the law of the land, because the color of law that has been put upon the people is some bullshit. And you already know it. You feeling it. Everybody's been feeling it. 2020 made everybody feel it with that COVID shit that they was doing. Yeah, y'all felt it one way or another. So by this point, you have decided, Are you going to stick to the system and continue to do the degrees and all of these different things and all of that? Or are you going to find yourself and remember who you are and stand on that? And so if you're ready to stand on that, then come on over to mastervibration13.com and we'll get you started. Before you get started, you got to talk to me. You got to talk to I'm in a solution. There's a whole process to all of these things of how we're doing it and how we're getting down. But know that this is something independent from a system, any system. I'm teaching you how to create your own system and stand on that. You're not under my authority. You're not under another ministry's authority. You're under your own authority. I'm just the witness and the guide that's going to help you figure it out. Right. And so those are ready to do that. And wait, before you get to the ministry, you must do your 9 chakra cleanse. You must know who you are. You must remember. And I hear a lot of people, because a lot of our people are on a poverty conscious mentality, like really, really hard. So I'm going to say this right now. $2,500 is the contribution for this particular thing. That number is a code. It is nowhere near the value of what is being offered. If you would like to get a ministry, just you want to get a ministry, there are hundreds and thousands of people. They'll charge you $100, $200, $500, whatever they charge. Go get that. Infinite Air Ministries is not for everyone. Infinite Air Ministries is not accepting everyone. We are looking for 13 people that are also going to be part of our advisory board. This is a lifetime of work. We're talking about building for 100 years from now. So we're not looking for people that are just excited about something and it sounds really good to be like an independent person. I'm going to go over here and let I am SEG 13 tell me what to do. Nope. I'll guide you. You got to figure that shit out on your own. I will support you. I have your back. I will do my work so that you can know that somebody else that believes in themselves, just like you do, is doing the damn thing. I will do that. Holding hands, we're not doing none of that, right? Because it is time for you to be able to figure it out on your own. And when you recognize that you are the one, this energy is going to start flowing to you immediately. I have to say ache to my brother, Orisha Bemi, because when we did this last week, all of it came all of a sudden. I didn't even know I was going to be ordaining nobody because I was focused on just Orgone energy batteries, Master Vibration 13, helping people get with it. But there's so many people that I've been running into that want to grow cannabis, that want to grow different herbs, that want to have their garden and just grow food, and they're being stopped. They're being stopped from doing something that they have the absolute right to do that. And so, you know, the great Ama Mama said, it's time to get out there and it's time to do this. And so this is why I'm doing this. I am not the only one doing this. A 508c1a has been done forever. Our ancestors from the Black Wall Street, they were operating under common law, 508c1a's private organizations. And so it's just time to come back. We're back.
We back.
Sharing information. I share. So if you want more, and I share to my people, the I ministers, the future I ministers that are in the chat right now, John, Javaya, Nina, Solution, everybody that's out there that's representing. Thank you for being here today. I love you so much.
We back for everything you owe.
That was exciting. That was exciting.
Find your Zemi. Find your Zemi. You too, girl. I didn't forget you.
Well, listen, I'm about to bring Fanya Zemi up on and highlight her real quick, because before we get out of here, I got to plug what we got going on. So it's been an amazing, it's definitely been an amazing last 2 to 3 weeks, man. Because shout out to, I won't say her name, but I don't know if she's cool with all that. But shout out to my client who I spoke to today briefly, actually on my way to Zemi, about some work that, you know, we've done in the spiritual space, and it's manifested right in her path and right in her way, where, you know, say everything went how it should have went. And it amazes me because I just love doing this work. But I say all that to say that what we're doing as a collective is extremely powerful. Yes. And I'm one of them people where I don't have to get accolades. I don't need the limelight. I don't even want to really, well, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not even somebody who has to be on here doing this right now, because I enjoy the real work, which is the work that we do off camera, right? And nothing against the people who they're all for on camera, but I'm more of an off camera guy. I really am, because I'm believing like just doing the work. I'm a hustler and I like to hustle. But it's like the way everything is coagulating and coming together, it's absolutely astonishing. Like it really is, because the day that you made the plug with the Oracle, this same client sent me some other additional extremely magical information as well. And so today was the first day I actually spoke to her to tell her, like, yo, you was on something with what you sent me, man, because she was excited about the show with the Oracle last night. I'm like, yo, but you I feel like your Ashe played a role in that, because you sent me some stuff the same day that all that took place. We just haven't spoke since then. So it's amazing to say all that. I say all that to say it's amazing to see how the maturation process and how all these things are coming together and aligning. So with that, I want to bring up the flyer for Miss Zimmy and what we got going on here.
Go Sammy, go Sammy, go Sammy, go
in these
Sammy.
Ashe streets, man. So
Hey.
shout out to all the mothers out there. Before I even go into this, shout out to the mothers. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers, who celebrated Mother's Day out there. But there's a lot of things that I feel like, we got to switch and switch the paradigm a little bit with, and that's saluting and honoring and paying reverence to the fellas, to the divine masculine. So shout out to Zimmy for putting this event together, man, and for the opportunity for me to be a host and to be able to facilitate it. The Kingsman Gathering Day Retreat is going down here in the Tampa Bay, Florida area, family. So if you're interested, any of the men who live in the Tampa Bay area, anybody who's in the vicinity who is interested in coming down and chopping it up and building as men for healing for men in a space for men, holla at your boy, man. I'll be sharing the link to the Eventbrite. You can holla at me through email, through social media, through the channel, however it is. If you're here in the Tampa Bay area, holla at me. And if you want to travel from wherever you at to the Tampa Bay area, come holla at us, because we got a very powerful, gathering that we have. It's a retreat that we're going to spend in nature. So we're going to have the ice bath. If you want to, kind of shake them things off with the ice cold water, do the plunge, you're all for that. We got Zimmy's going to be providing the sound bath. She's going to be presiding the, she's going to be producing the Reiki sessions. And then we also going to have a massage therapist. It's going to be dope, man. So we're going to chop it up. And we're going to take a note from the divine feminine, and we're going, we're going to make some healing circles for the divine masculine, for us to build, for us to cultivate, for us to pour into one another the way we need to, because it's something that I feel like we got to do as men. And shout out to Baba Efuyemi, shout out to the Beji, shout out to all the brothers who helped me with the youth program last summer that I was working with the nonprofit, where every time we spoke and did the same work that you do, Mariana, we would sit in the parking lot and just build and chop it up amongst ourselves, because it was so therapeutic. We would go back and look at how everything unfolded and what we, felt like was the highlight of the situation in the conversation, because we really are about that life and doing that work. So I say all that to say that we're looking for some warriors, we're looking for some kings, we're looking for some divine masculine to build with us, to heal, to, project that positive, loving, nourishing, cultivating energy for the divine masculine. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area, come holler at us, man. We got it going down the day before Father's Day weekend. Shout out to Zimmy Locks. I appreciate you and the opportunity, Zimmy Locks. So there's that. So with that,
that's beautiful. That's exciting.
Yeah, look, I want to do it out there too.
Good, Orisha Bemi.
Huh?
Your hair looks fantastic.
Listen, she got you fresh.
Hey, that's Zimmy, boy. Find your Zimmy. Y'all got to find your Zimmy, man. For those, for those who out there got locks, man, find your Zimmy, because you get more than just locks. Like, she really is giving you like a whole. It's dope. It's a divine spiritual moment, but it starts with your crown chakra. She starts with your crown. She gives you the Reiki. She tightens up your locks. She gives you the sound healing. It's dope, man. So shout out to Zimmy Locks.
Yes, shout out. Keep it up the good word.
All right. So with that, where y'all want to leave off? What y'all want to leave the people with before we get out of here?
I would just like to say that I'm really happy to be a part of your community. I'm happy that my sister brought me your way. I'm happy to, continue to come back and build. I'm happy to look forward to what, I like when I come home and it's time for me to chop up some vegetables and do some nurturing to the home shit. And I could roll on one of your episodes and know that they're going to be, just quality people from all different aspects that, positive programming. I think what I'm saying in this moment is I am grateful for healthy and positive programming, because we can get into the swing of like fussing about how crazy the programming is. But I'm very big on making sure to recognize that where we can see hell, we can always find and create heaven. And this is a piece of heaven on earth for a lot of people, whether this program and this show is, for new people who are coming into a level of self-awareness and collective awareness, whether it's for people like us who need to always be able to plug into an environment where we don't have to explain ourselves because we understand that high frequency, or whether it's for people who are like the master teachers that you bring on, the elders and the OGs who are ushering in the pathway for us. I'm just grateful for you. I'm grateful for your work. I'm grateful for your appreciators, and I'm grateful for you continuing to push forward. So thank you, my sister, for sharing me into this place and this space. And thank you, for brother, for maintaining it. And thank you for all the people who chime in, who even go beyond this space and become appreciators of the individuals that they bring on. This is how we start to build those micro communities. And this is how we remind ourselves that, you know, no matter what they're showing us on TV and their craziness, there are a lot of healthy, strong, proactive people who are doing the work, who are gaining knowledge of self, who are coming into consciousness, who know how to cooperate, who know how to operate with truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, balance, harmony, and order. We do exist, and it takes places like this to show that. And so I'm just very grateful to be here. Ashe.
I see. Look, you getting me a little, you know what I'm saying? Look, hey, man, nah, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your appreciation, like, for real, real
that's
talk.
the Father's Day spirit. You know,
Yeah.
fatherhood and motherhood is not always about a biological experience.
Yes.
And so, you know, when you look at that King's Men gathering, the day retreat, June 20th is a powerful day for so many layers and so many reasons. And so a lot of the time in tradition, we see Mother's Day really get blown up. But a lot of Father's Day will a lot of fathers say, yeah, y'all don't blow up Father's Day the way you blow up Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And we have to be in the habit of acknowledging the fatherhood spirit, the fatherhood energy, the one that whether you're biological or not, we're going to protect you, and we're going to check you and make sure that you do not put yourselves in harm's way. So happy Father's Day, happy masculine divine energy day to those that operate as fathers biologically or non-biologically. We really do love you, and we know you exist just the same. So I hope you go to the Kingsmen gathering. I hope that you see the power in that and get all the ashe that you deserve. So yeah, happy Father's Day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ashe.
SEG, what you got for the family before we get up out of here?
Man, this was a very powerful gathering. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to this community. This has been a very powerful community for me since I started coming to this platform. The people that connect are making real connections. And I have met some amazing people here on this platform. And I thank you all. So many of y'all, I can't even name y'all all right now, but I'm so grateful for the rhythm that this collaboration has, you know, because it's a very powerful thing what we're doing right now. And so anybody that wants to do the work with themselves, mastervibration13.com is a free site that you can come to so that you could do your training. I teach people in part of my ministry, part of that contribution that people make is also that they can learn skills. They're going to learn skills in financing, in trading, and all of these different the digital funds, foreign currencies, gold, silver, all different things like that. They're also going to learn about scalar technology, orgon technology, which is a technology that I've used to create a business out of. My family has been surviving with the business of orgon technology. And it's a very powerful business that when you set up your ministry, we're not just helping you learn about the ministerial things, we're also teaching you and helping you bring out your gifts so that you could liquidate your assets through your gifts, which is what Infinionaires do. So if you're interested in going as deep as the ocean, 818-233-5776. That's my number. You can go ahead and send a text. I'll give it to you again, 818-233-5776. Or you can find me at The Layer at mastervibration13.com. Thank you so much, Mariana. It's always such a good time chilling out with you here with Orisha Bemi. Thank you, Orisha Bemi, for always thinking of me and bringing me to the platform. Gracias, gracias.
Gracias.
We gonna make it do what it do, babe. We gonna make it do what it do.
We gonna make it do what it do. We gonna make it do what it do.
Listen, look, we're just getting started, man. We're just getting started. So first and foremost, I want to give gratitude to y'all. You know, it's been amazing. Like, it really has. And I'm grateful. Like, I'm truly grateful. I say it all the time. Like, I'm a fan. Like, I'm blessed to be able to sit in this chair and be the messenger. But it's really not about me. It never has been, never will be. Like, I'm grateful to the ancestors for giving me the divine message and for me to have the ears to hear and the eyes to see, to follow suit and be obedient. So that's what it's been from day one. That's what it always will be. However, there's a lot of things popping, man. Shout out to the tribe. I had a couple of calls and email exchanges and, you know, just corresponding exchanges with several members of the tribe who are very powerful in their own right, who are doing very powerful things. And one thing about me, I ain't never been a gatekeeper, nor will I ever be. If I have a position or I have a way that I could help to facilitate growth or expansion or leveling up, trust and believe, as long as the intentions and the energy is divine and it's, you know, aligned, we're going to make it happen. So we're going to make it do what it do, babe. We're going to make it do what it do.
Make it do what it do.
Yeah, man. So that's what it's about. So and shout out to Fanya Zemi, because we was talking about that earlier about collaboration over competition and really building dynasties. You can't do it by yourself. And shout out to, I won't mention the tribe member, but I believe he's still on here, you know, that I met with yesterday. Like, we had a very powerful conversation too. But one thing that I learned, and we spoke about this on our last call, I am SEG, and this is what inspired that meeting, is about me and some of the different business ventures that I'm in, but mergers and acquisitions, which is buying businesses. That's what sparked a meeting. But long story short, one of the coaches that I'm in their program, he had a quote that I love, and I shared it with Zimmy today. And it's like, when it comes to businesses, or it comes to just being an investor, it's one thing to have one thing, but the message was, it's better to have 20%, 25% of a watermelon than to have 100% of a grape, right? And the theory and the philosophy behind it is, yeah, I have one Ashe, but it's just one of me doing this one thing for a community of over 24,000, right? So now I got to figure out a way to network and build relationships and delegate this opportunity for others, like with you, with SEG, with, you know, SEKHMET, MAAT, with, you know, a lot of other people. So where I can extend the value that I could bring to the tribe to y'all, and y'all can extend the value to the tribe by bringing what you bring on a whole nother level, right? Because for me, I'd rather delegate and be a partner in partnerships than to be an owner of one thing. You know what I mean? So I would much rather have my hands in 25% of a multitude of watermelons than to just be holding on to that one, you know, saying 100% of the grape. So I say all to say that we got a phenomenal crowd, a phenomenal audience, and a phenomenal tribe. And I'm looking forward to making it happen, you know, from a mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially perspective, to really make shift happen in these Ashe streets. So I couldn't do that by myself. So I give gratitude to the Divine Feminine for joining me tonight, for last night, to the tribe, everybody in the comments, man. I appreciate and love every single one of y'all. Thank you for the love and support. And it is what it is. And we're going to make it do what it do, babe. We're going to make it do what it do.
We're going to make it do what it do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to holler at both of y'all to see if we can do it again, man, off air. And I look forward to it. I do. And if y'all want to leave the tribe or anything else on the way out, let me know. It's all yours.
My website is missmariana.today. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, you can go there to work through some of that muck you're trying to work through. And if you want to, a lot of people ask, how can I support you working with the youth? You can refer me. So if you know different schools, different districts, different organizations that want to book me to do workshops, facilitations, keynotes, I'm here for it. So I just wanted to let you know that you can find all things to connect with me on one-on-one or for facilitation at missmariana.today. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What about you, SEG? Anything else?
Ache, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Love is love is love. Ache.
Ashe. All right, man. I appreciate y'all. Sacktown Divine Feminine in the building. I appreciate y'all. Tribe. So yeah, we definitely got a lot coming up, man. So y'all will be seeing us a lot more often. Things are finally smoothing out on my end. So I'm gonna definitely get back into the private communities and getting the presentations and a lot of other big things popping, you know, together. So I look forward to it, family. So with that, I give thanks and gratitude to both of y'all for coming through and doing what you always do, man. Uplifting, inspiring, and elevating the frequency and the consciousness of the tribe.
Somebody give her balloons. How'd you get them balloons?
I don't know. I did something with my fingers.
Look,
I be doing shit. I don't know what I be doing, but I be doing shit and shit be popping.
That's that oracle, Ashe.
I don't know where I came back, but okay, we'll just do a thumbs up.
That's
Peace,
the
y'all.
divine feminine. All right, so I holla at y'all. All right, family. So we'll see y'all on the next episode. We are out. Peace.
Mwah.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjà kọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your.